Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, we're going to take a look at some reprint books, trade paperbacks, reprinting Marvel's Conan the Barbarian in a few forms. I have previously showed the paperback pocketbook sized Conan the Barbarian books. I've showed them once before. I can't show them this time. I can't remember where I put them. I probably put them someplace where they would be safe, where I'd easily remember where they were and forgot. So that's how that happened. But it doesn't matter. I've shown that before, and it's duplicating a lot of this material. First off, I'll show this. These are all from Dark Horse Comics. When Dark Horse had the license. We have The Chronicles of Conan, Volume 1, Tower of the Elephant, and Other Stories. And this begins at the very beginning from 1970 with Conan the Barbarian #1, written by Roy Thomas and drawn by Barry Smith. Barry Windsor Smith, but at that time he was going by Barry Smith. And as you can see right here on the cover, very dynamic. This is, and this book is they've recolored with more modern techniques. And this book is reprint is from what did it say, 2002, 2003? I've forgotten. I think it said 2003. Yeah, 2003. This is Volume 1. Has some nice, of course. But as you read through it, you can gradually see Barry Smith's style evolving a little bit. And he was still fairly new at the time, had done some other things, and had very, very strong Jack Kirby influence in his art. But it wasn't imitating Kirby's style, but it's probably the closest you'll ever get to seeing how Jack Kirby would have drawn Conan the Barbarian, aside from the cover to one comic in the 70s. And this has features right in here. Where is it? There it is. Is this the one? No. This is, yeah, the Tower of the Elephant story. Yeah, there's one. But here we have, this is reprinting story right here. Not that one. Zucala's Daughter, inspired by Zucala's Hour, a poem written by Robert E. Howard. And this was the very first issue of Conan the Barbarian that I ever got, and I don't think I have anymore. I've had a whole lot of Conan books that I wound up getting rid of over the years. And these are all great fun reading. I don't have all of these. I think I have a couple more someplace, but I'm not sure. Then we have The Chronicles of Conan, Volume 3, Monster of the Monoliths. And this is also starting off with Barry Smith. Now this actually has a sequel, the sequel to that Zucala's Daughter, and this is one of my favorite stories here. This is The Sword Called Stormbringer. This is the crossover with Elric of Melnemone by Michael Moorcock, and this is based on a plot from him. Here you see him. And it was a longer 2-issue story, and that's very good. I love that one. Then it's when Gil Kane takes over for a little bit, and then we're back to Barry Smith. But here, you can compare the Barry Smith here from, this is just a couple years later, from 1970 to this, and his style has evolved and matured quite a bit, and you can really see the difference. Of course, this time he's also doing his own inks, I believe, and of those are what I've got, at least now, of the Chronicles of Conan. Then you have the Chronicles of King Conan, Volume 1, and this is with John Buscema doing the pencils, and of course Roy Thomas still doing the pencils, with Ernie Chan on the inks. Now, I never really cared for Ernie Chan's inks on. He does a great job, but he never cared for his inks on John Buscema, because his own style has a tendency to overpower the penciler's style, and I like John Byrne's style. Of course, and this is originally from 1980, Conan the King, and this is with his adventures with his son Con, Prince Con. Then we have Chronicles of King Conan, Volume 2, more Roy Thomas and Doug Monk doing the writing, still with John Buscema and Ernie Chan. And again, some really great adventure stuff. Except if he's the king, why is he still looking like, dressing like? Of course, in this story it makes sense, but dressing like he's not a king, still like the wandering barbarian. And then here we have the Savage Sword of Conan. This is Volume 1 reprint. Of course, this is, like I said, this is still Dark Horse, and this has some more Barry Smith, and this is where you really see the style difference, evolution. This has the great adaptation of Red Nails. Of course, this is black and white, and I really like Red Nails. It's one of the best Conan stories from Howard, and a great adaptation. And but when it was printed in the tabloid-sized book in the 70s, it was colored, and beautifully colored too, for that. Then we get some more Gil Kane, and later John Buscema, and some Ernie Chan and Rudy Nebris art. They're all beautiful, great adventures, of course, with Savage Sword, black and white magazine style, and it was they were able to get more gore, more violence, and a little bit of sex in there too, with these great painted covers, mostly by various artists, by Earl Norham and Bob Larkin, amongst others. I wanted to mention that about the first, I think it's 5 stories in this volume, did not come from Savage Sword. They were originally from Savage Tales, the version before Savage Sword. And then here we are on this great Earl Norham. This is Volume 3, and I think I have another one here somewhere. This is a little later. Has some John Buscema and some other artists. This looks like Beyond the Black River. That is my all-time favorite. Beyond the Black River, my all-time favorite Conan story by Robert E. Howard. Even though it is Tony DeZuniga, John Buscema and Tony DeZuniga, and it is a great adaptation, but I prefer the adaptation to Red Nails, but it's still great stuff on there. And then we finish it off with this. This is from the newspaper strips from 78 to 79. This covers. Now, you may not even have known that Conan had a newspaper strip, and it's still printed by Dark Horse. And this is the only copy that I have ever seen. It says Volume 1. I don't know if they ever produced a Volume 2, but I know that there were more strips because it ends on a cliffhanger. Or not exactly a cliffhanger, but it says next Red Sonja. So And Red Sonja appears in here somewhere too. Yeah, there she is. And I noticed, because it's a comic strip, her garb covers a little bit more than it did in the comic books. This volume, of course, written by Roy Thomas. It starts off with pencils by John Buscema and inks by Ernie Chan. But then within just a few weeks, Ernie Chan takes over all art, the whole art duties. And it is some really great stuff, and it's outside of the regular continuity of the comics and stuff. And some really great reading here. And I think a couple of stories from the comics were readapted or rewritten for this strip. I'm not positive on that. And so that is what I've got for you. If you are fantasy fans, sword and sorcery fans, barbarians, beautiful women, and savage tales. Ooh. Share with your other fantasy-loving friends. And please leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Who is your favorite Conan the Barbarian artist and writer, etc. For either prose text or comics writer? Let me know in the comments below. Ooh. And remember, especially when it's this great stuff, comics are art.